In this slideshow, I'm going to show you how to do mole conversions using something known as the factor label. Before we begin, I need to define a mole for you. I think most of you already know what it is, but for those of you who don't, 1 mole of anything is just a number of that thing. So, for example, if I say you got a dozen donuts, everybody knows that's 12 donuts. So if I say you got a mole of atoms, everybody who's in chemistry knows that means you got that many atoms. And another thing, if you put that many atoms of the element magnesium on an electronic balance, it's going to weigh 24 grams. Now, how in the heck did I figure that out? Well, you got to understand a little bit of something about how the periodic table is laid out. Now, you guys know that the top number up here in the lithium box is the atomic number. That's how many protons it's got in the nucleus. But this number down here is the mass number. It has a couple of meanings, depending upon how many atoms you're talking about. Now, if you're talking about one average lithium atom, it weighs 6.941 atomic mass units. If you're talking about a mole of lithium atoms, 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd lithium atoms, then you're talking about 6.941 grams. Just like a mole of magnesium weighs 24 grams, a mole of lithium weighs 6.9 grams. A mole of potassium, 39 grams. A mole of calcium, 40 grams. So my point is these numbers on the bottom of each of the element symbols on the periodic table, that's the mass in grams of a mole of that particular element, or 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. As a matter of fact, it's known as the molar mass. And molar mass is always going to be in grams. All right. So with that out of the way, I'm going to show you how to do your... So the first conversion is asking you to convert from 48 grams into moles. So, how many moles are there in 48 grams? Now, a lot of you can just look at this relationship and say, oh, that's 2 moles. Because 24 grams is 1 mole. I'm guessing 48 grams is probably going to be 2 moles, and you'd be absolutely right. But I'm using this conversion prompt here to show you the method for converting. So I'm using it to teach the method, even though the answer may be obvious. So when you use the factor label approach, you always begin with the information that's given in the problem. So I was given 48 grams here. I put in my fraction line. So this is numerator. What goes down here is denominator. I put in my factor line. So whatever goes here will be multiplied by that. Whatever goes here will be multiplied by that. I'm sorry, whatever goes here will be multiplied times that. Whatever goes here will be multiplied by that. And then you divide. Okay? So the next thing I need to do is I'm going to convert this into moles. So I want to cancel grams. I want to cancel the unit of grams, which forces me to put grams down here. So whatever you've got here unit-wise, you've got to put the same unit down here to cancel it. And of course, I go up here to this line of information here, and I pick off the 24 grams and put it down there. Now I'm trying to get it into moles, which means you want moles to appear right there. So 24 grams, how many moles is that equal to? And of course, this line up here says it's equal to 1 mole, so that goes on top. Now you cancel grams. 48 divided by 24 is 2. You got 2 moles. Now this one is asking you to change from moles to grams. Mass is always in grams. So as always, you start with what you were given. I was given 2 moles. Put in your lines. Write down what you're trying to get it into. So in this case, you're trying to get it into grams. Now you got to put moles down here because that's the only way you can cancel that unit. So you come up to this line of information, you grab 1 mole off of there and you stick it down there. Now we're trying to get it into mass, which is in grams. So you find grams on this line of information, which is 24, and that goes on top. Cancel moles. 2 times 24 is 48. Now again, to a lot of you, the answer is probably going to be obvious. 1 mole is 24, so 2 moles is 48. But again, Just remember, I'm using this to introduce a methodology to you. Okay, how many atoms are there in 48 grams? Start with 48 grams, put in your lines, and you're trying to get that into atoms. So in this case, you're going to pluck the 24 and put it down there because you're trying to cancel grams. And you want atoms on top, so now you're going to use this bit of information here because this has got units of atoms attached to it. So you put atoms on top, cancel out your grams, right? And then do the math. 48 divided by 24 is 2. 2 times 6 is 12. Carry over the 10 to the 23rd, and you got it. Now, if you want to convert it to scientific notation, just move this decimal one place to the left and raise that exponent by 1. And you got it. Now, this one is asking you to convert atoms into grams. Okay, so how much will this many atoms weigh? So you start with atoms, put in all your junk, and you're converting that to grams. Now, because you're given atoms there, you got to put atoms down there. So I take this number from up here and move it down there. And you're trying to get it into grams, so you take this number here and move it down there because that's got units of grams attached to it. Cancel atoms. Now, a little simple math. 6 times 6.022 divided by 6.022 is 1, of course. And 10 to the 25th divided by 10 to the 23rd. I think somewhere along the line a teacher told you that when you divide numbers that have a common base, so here we're in base 10, you wind up subtracting those exponents. So 25 minus 23 is 2. So we're 10 to the second. Okay? So that's 2,400. How many moles are there in 24 grams of carbon? Now, in this problem, we've switched the elements, so you got to switch the mass number. So when you go to the periodic table, this many atoms of carbon won't weigh 24 grams. It's going to weigh 12 grams, which is the atomic mass number for carbon. So now we do everything dealing with that relationship. There we go. 12 grams goes down there. Converting it to moles, it goes on top. Cancel grams. What's the mass of 2 moles? So, I mean, you just play through it. Got to put 1 mole down there. 12 goes on top. 48. A cancel. Sorry. And 2 times 12, not 48. It's 24. Sorry. How many atoms are there in 6 grams? You know, when you start using this stuff fairly regularly, you know, it gets to be pretty easy. 6 divided by 12 is half. Half of 6 is 3. Carry the 10 to the 23rd, and you got it. Now, this one's a little more difficult, so you start with atoms, but not really. Okay, so you got to put this number down on the bottom. It's the only way you're going to cancel. And this number goes on top because you're trying to convert it to grams. Cancel atoms. Cancel 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Divide exponents with a common base. You got it.